Says we're live. Here we are. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday Night Bull Ring. I have Rick, Is Your Six Covered, and Rosie O'Kelly. As usual, there's a couple of my normal guests, and hopefully we'll have a good chat tonight. We don't really have a whole lot. There's a couple of little subjects we're going to hit on. After that, we'll just play it by ear or go by what you guys and girls in the external want us to talk about, and we'll go from there. So with that, I'll let Rick do an intro. Go ahead, man.
Hey everyone, thanks for showing up to TR's Bull Ring. I appreciate it. Rosie and myself and TR definitely like seeing you guys out there in the comment section, so thanks again, and let's have fun tonight.
Sorry, couldn't find my mouse pointer. Go ahead, Rosie. You can do an intro.
Sure. Glad to be back from Las Vegas. I missed you guys down at Farmageddon and all the hijinks down there, but I've sure been hearing about it over the last few days. But I'm very glad to be back. Rosie O'Kelly channel, just putting up Las Vegas videos over the last couple days. Have a few more days, and then onward and upward to other stuff. Hope to get out on the gun range very soon. It's been a while with Jen recovering from her frozen shoulder, so always glad to be on with Rick and TR and you guys on the side chat for Tuesday night's Bull Ring.
Well, hopefully we can keep everybody interested in what we're going to talk about, which, like I said, as usual, I don't ever plan out much, because even the chats that I've been on that they planned out the chat, we ended up going off on tangents. So that's why ever since I started my chats, I just like, hey, just shoot from the hip, see what happens, and it so far seems to be working. But as usual, I'll let Rosie do her usual economic report, or what she sees going on in the economy, stock market, whatever is on her mind. I watched her Rosie Murphy channel's economic update today. I don't know, he might have posted a day or two ago, I can't remember. But
Sunday.
Okay, so I watched that, and so I know she's got a little bit on her mind, and go right ahead.
Yeah, there's a couple of subjects. We'll start with this, and then I know you have a few things to talk about. And I want to, as we come up to Memorial Day, I think everybody knows by now how I feel about vets and those who are in service to the country in one form or another, and not just those that died. But we'll start with the, be glad to start with the eco things today. And I think it's very interesting this at this time in like our stock market now, and we're at the arguing point. What I call the arguing point now is, are interest rates going to be raised at the next Fed meeting in June, or are they not going to be raised? And are the economic statistics good, or are they not good? You know, we're getting this delicately balanced on a knife edge right now of statistics coming on. On the one hand, which we've talked about here for almost a year, is the decline of traditional bricks and mortar retailing, which of course retailing is one of the key backbones of this country, is people selling products through storefronts. And we've seen the tremendous troll that Amazon and other online sellers have done in really shrinking now, visibly shrinking department store sales, not just amongst discounters, but also reaching up into the higher echelon department stores, the Macy's, the Bloomingdale's, the Kohl's, the Nordstroms. It's really starting to take its toll. Now, Best Buy is the latest one on the block today. And it's funny when I talk to people about Best Buy, and of course Best Buy, for those of you who don't know, is the big electronics retailer, computer and electronics, TVs, printers, all types of electronic products under one roof. And 10 years ago, they were the be-all and end-all of electronic selling. They practically cornered the market on electronic sales, and today their earnings were rather disastrous reported. They're all feeling the pressure of and the boot of Amazon and Google in the major way that they're selling. So that is absolutely having an impact on our economy. So there's changes taking place there. The other thing that I thought was really dynamic, a really dynamic statistic that came out today is, and this statistic has been gathered in this country through the census since 1880. So what I'm about to tell you, this is what, 140 years, or give or take here, 110, 130, 140 years. The number of people between 18 and 34 years of old in this country, what we call the relatively young in this country, the majority of that age group is living with their parents in the highest percentage numbers ever recorded by census, going all the way back to the 1880s. Now you really have to take these kind of this kind of information and really draw some inferences about what's going on with our country. Why are household formations so deficient? What is it that is forestalling that? And of course, we know for a fact that student loan debt continues to bite deep to the tune of $1 trillion. So we can see that the effects of government at work and the convoluted what would you say, disasters that they wreak on the economy when they try to get involved to make things supposedly better. Remember Ronald Reagan saying that I'm here from the government, and the scariest words in history. I'm here from the government, and I'm here to help. Right? And this was something where education was designed to be more affordable for people. And in fact, what happened over the last 20 years is we've created a generation of basically indentured servants that have come out of college saddled with huge loans, facing a very, very, very difficult job market. So that's been a major dynamic too in there. But I think it's very interesting, the number of younger people living at home with parents, the highest amount ever measured since statistics were first gathered in the 1880s. Now, as far as the economy goes, well, I don't even know if the government's capable of measuring the statistics that are properly needed to scope out what's going on in our economy today. When we talk about retail sales moving from places like Best Buy, where people will just go in and shop products. They'll go in and just maybe hold a camera or check out a computer or check out a TV. Then they'll go home and they'll get on their phone and just punch it in and see how much cheaper they can get it online. So they're really using these as like showrooms now to go ahead and preview products. Well, I'm not sure if the government's properly designed data gathering to take that into account to see whether we're really growing or not, or whether we just continue to top slice traditional bricks and mortar retailers. I know walking into a mall, and I saw the same thing in Las Vegas when I was down there, I'm very cognizant of retail. And even some of those big high-end shops were looking very ghost townish down there in Caesars Forum and around the Bellagio. And it's been much more pronounced these days. As far as the market goes, well, it's almost like a prize fighter. If you're coming out to challenge a prize fighter in a heavyweight fight, and if you don't take him in the first 5 rounds or so, you're probably going to be in trouble by the time you get to the 10th or 11th round. And that's the way the market is right now. They've tried so hard to TKO this market and push it down and to beat it into a bear market, but it's been almost impossible to do. And days like today, when you're up 200 plus points, just reminds me that these type of spheres, these type of markets, bull markets and investment markets, can always be a universe unto themselves, totally devoid of well, political influence, economic influence. The only thing that they seem to be concerned about is interest rates. So I'm still believing that they're going to stay low for a very long period of time. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is inflation, because there's definitely hints of inflation out there. I mean, house prices in our area have been moving up pretty briskly here, and I've noticed that there are some shortages of housing breaking out around the country. That was highlighted on Yahoo Finance today. So I don't know. I'm interested in polling the panel as I wrap up here, what your thoughts are on local real estate in your areas, because if we start to get the bit of inflation in our mouth and we start to develop this trend of going higher with all of this QE1, QE2, QE3, QE4, all this gasoline we've poured on the fire, we could find ourselves pretty quickly in a rather pronounced inflationary period here with all this funny money out here and all these banks sitting on all this cash that are so eager to push that out into the investment arena for commercial and industrial loans that, well, when it turns, it could turn very quickly. That's why, once again, I encourage anybody, if you haven't refinanced or if you're waiting to borrow money for something major, it's probably not really going to get any better than it is right now. I've said before, back in 1980, you couldn't have given me, I would have bet you $1 million that you would have been wrong if you had told me in 1980 that by 2016 we'd be looking at a 10-year interest rate of 1.8%. That was when 10-year was about 16.5% back there. So things change. Just because things are the way they are now doesn't mean they will be that way going forward. It's not a linear world, so just be careful that if you need to borrow, it looks like a very ideal time to do that with money being rather cheap, and it could get a lot more cheaper. So I'm looking at Gwen on the side, says lots of properties here have been up for sale for 2 years or more. So I'm going to ask Rick in North Carolina and TR as I just end this part tonight. What are your particular observations in your area? Because things for sale here in NorCal within, I'd say, a week to 7 days, they're off the market and already under contract here.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. The we had a painter come, and he's been doing a ton of new houses. So I guess the economy's good. I mean, I guess people are buying new homes. There is some construction that you can see when you're driving through around the towns, mostly up in towards Asheville area. But price-wise, ever since we bought a year ago, I haven't even wanted to look at anything because, you know what I mean, I'm not on the market of looking anymore or even caring so much. So it's kind of hard to answer that. But according to the painter, he's been busy painting new houses, so I'll have to go with that.
Well, and also, this area where me and Rick live, I mean, I'm in South Carolina, but Rick's only like 20 minutes from me. I live right on the North Carolina line almost. But it's kind of, I guess it's kind of, it might be almost a false picture to go by the housing market because, like Rick, we have a lot of people moving to this area. And so it could give a false implication of how well the housing is doing because you have an influx of people from out of state. But I will say, I mean, I see on my way to work, which it kind of bothers me because it's just making more traffic for me, I see a bunch of housing developments popping up, and they're homes, and I'm in, you know, South Carolina. I mean, upstate of South Carolina, which Greenville County is, I think, the most heavily populated county in South Carolina. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's the last stat I've seen. But anyway, they're like $250,000 to $350,000 homes, few years ago, I mean, you'd have to be that's considered like semi-wealthy to buy a home that's $300,000. Now I'm seeing them being sold by the dozens. So I don't know. I guess the local economy is doing pretty good. We got BMW here, which off it created a bunch of other plants supporting BMW and other manufacturing, other automotive manufacturing. So where I'm at, it looks good, but at the same time, in the plant I'm at, I see the slowdown. The plants we support, I see the slowdown from them. And so the companies are tightening up. They're reeling back right now. I don't know if it's from lack of sales or just they see something that they're reacting on. I don't know. So
I
that's
think
my
it's
take on it.
it's interesting when I hear both of you talk, and I understand, Rick, that once you buy a house, the last thing you want to do is like, yeah, we're going to go out looking at houses next week, right?
Yeah,
You know, it's like
that's strictly the last thing.
it's like you need two years to recover your psyche before you even open your eyes.
And I'm still unloading boxes.
Yeah, and I think it's just like I guess I could say this, TR, that it appears that if it's interest rate driven, in other words, if the cost of money is cheap, then the demand is there. In other words, if you can find a cheap mortgage and you can find a decent, if you can put a down payment down or use a VA or a government-sponsored loan, then that sector is looking pretty good right now. I mean, we got the home builder companies like Toll Brothers and U.S. Home and some other ones doing quite good on the publicly listed markets now. But when you get to the underlying economy where things are being produced, I still don't think the demand is there for that type of product, for that type of manufacturing base, for that type of operation. But I will say, when I was in Las Vegas last week and we rode all around, for those of you that subscribe to the Rosie O'Kelly channel, I have 3 different ride-arounds Vegas, probably an hour and a half altogether between 3 of them. And I will tell you what, I did not see one thing, not one thing under construction in Las Vegas. Not one house, not one office building, not one casino, not one hotel. For the first time I've been going down there in 20 years. I did see a ton of stuff that still remains vacant down there. So it really is a job-driven place. And we know a lot of these casinos and other places have cut back and are trying to use as much automation in their operations as possible and swinging away from gambling and more towards being entertainment spheres instead of gambling spheres. So it's kind of interesting that there's not much being made there, but therefore there's really not much demand. I don't see a lot of demand for supporting the housing market as opposed to, say, a Greenville, South Carolina, where you do have all that secondary and tertiary operations to support the BMWs and things like that. So,
And kind of talking about Vegas, I don't remember what year it was, but they tried to steer it towards family, where you'd bring the whole family and everybody'd enjoy something. There's stuff for the younger kids and the adults, obviously. And then they kind of turned that back around and are trying to go the other way again. It seems like maybe they put a lot of money.
That was a disaster.
Yeah,
that was a marketing disaster because they built. You can blame National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation with Chevy Chase for a lot of that, right? For those of you who saw that, and you take the family and you go to Vegas, oh shit, Cousin Eddie shows up, blah blah blah, and it's all a family free-for-all and all that bullshit. But I will tell you this: trying to put Las Vegas on a footing of family-friendly, fun place was a bloody disaster. And it took until the What Happens in Vegas Stays in Vegas campaign in like 2005 that turned all of that around. And now Vegas doesn't want to see young people there. They don't, except for circus, you don't really see a hell of a lot of kids in Las Vegas, and that's kind of the way I think they like it. But what the hell is there for kids? Outside of the Circus Adventure Dome, and what is there? I mean,
well, you used to have Wet and Wild. They tore that down. I don't know if they rebuilt it again.
That's gone. That's gone. But I'm just saying, you spend a week in Vegas, your kids are going to be mind numb by the end of 3 or 4 days, and it didn't work out at all.
They're going to be mind numb just walking around and picking up cards off the street.
Yeah, well, that's another thing too. The cards, they passed quite a few. A lot's changed down there, Rick. Just since I was down there in December, I go twice a year in spring and in December, usually April or May and December. And I can tell you what, some things have changed down in Las Vegas. Number one, they used to have on the walkover bridges from one side to the other, to the Flamingo, to Caesars, to Bellagio. They used to have all kinds of people playing plastic buckets as drums and bumming money and playing violins and doing magic. That's all against the law now. There's no more. You don't see anybody out there street hustling on overpasses anymore. You'll still see them down the street level. But the other thing, remember those porn poppers that would pop those cards, you go down the street and they're passing those cards to everybody. Yeah, they're gone now. You don't see them anymore.
They kicked them all out, huh?
Yeah, they kicked them all out. I think just too much hassle. But like I said, it's interesting to see the other big change, Rick, that it was downtown is much more happening now than on the Strip. All the action is downtown. All the businesses, all the restaurants are opening down there, just taking existing vacant properties and making a go of them. People aren't going up to the Strip because it just got too corporate. But the upshot for the economic thing was that the pressure just continues to be on these casinos, and they're trying like hell to shift over from entertaining and putting entertaining features in as opposed to straight gambling and things like that. So it's interesting to see. But isn't that unusual for a town that went gangbusters from 2000 to 2008? I just didn't see one thing being constructed at all down there.
Yeah, I remember going out there. I used to go out there as a kid during the summer, and me and a buddy that moved over there, we'd go have fun as kids. But going there older after getting to be 21 and stuff, and it's changed a lot. I mean, we were only 4 hours away from when I lived in California, so
sure,
we'd go out there once in a while.
But it's changed a lot. It's got all corporate. It took the cool guy factor out of it, and the Goomba factor, and put all the bean counters in.
Well, and the tribal casinos, I think, hurt them a lot too.
Oh yeah, they gutted them. They just gutted them. Anything that kept people in California, all the Indian gaming, anything that kept people going over the Sierras to Reno and over to Las Vegas and Sycuan and San Diego and some of the other Palm Springs, some of the Indian casinos there. Yeah, gutted them.
There's a lot of good ones.
But anybody that thinks you can build a strong economy by just having gambling has got another thing coming. Anybody that hates the redistribution of wealth and stuff would.
Yeah, you gotta have a strip club. You gotta have a strip club for sure to round it out.
I'm sure the reservation casinos has had to put a hurting on Vegas.
Oh, and Reno.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been huge. So they've tried to shift off of gambling onto entertainment, things like that, by upping the show factor, by putting more amenities into hotels. And, it used to be if you were a local and you wanted to go swimming, you had to go to a municipal pool, what few they were. Now the hotels have wisened up, and you pay $20 cover, and you can go in for the day, and they'll have a DJ at the pool, and you know, they're finding other ways to make money that have nothing to do with gambling whatsoever. They're catering much more to the locals that are down there.
They was asking about my mic. Here, let me change. I cut down my bandwidth. Let me cut it back up so I can get a full picture here. All right, here you go.
Oh, when you cut your
there you go.
It goes narrow?
Yeah. It's a snowball. Blue is the brand.
That's an orange ball.
Yeah. The only reason I got orange is because it was like $2 cheaper for some reason. I didn't really care what color it was. It could be purple with pink polka dots on it. I didn't give a damn. But anyhow, that's what I got. It's a noise canceling mic. You just get it close to you, and it's great for chats. I could have a dryer running right now, and you wouldn't hear it.
Blue, you can get the Logitech too. It works great. I show you.
Well, my camera is a Logitech. It's got a mic built into it, but if I use it, I get an echo. Unless I use headphones.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I have is a Logitech wide angle.
Yeah, but see, like Rosie's using the headphones because a lot of times if you don't, you'll get an echo.
Oh yeah, I need to have headphones to get it right. So.
Yeah. So with this, I don't have to use headphones. So some people get away with that, and it don't create the echo. I guess it just depends on where your speakers
Well,
are.
if I turn if I had the volume low enough on the TV set that I'm using for the monitor in front of me, I could kind of get away with it, but I want to be able to hear everything and not have to strain to hear, so it's a lot easier just to wear headphones.
Yeah.
When I'm on.
But getting back to what we were kind of talking about, and you touched on it, with the corporations taking over the casinos and stuff, getting back to even the housing that I was talking about, these $250,000, $350,000 houses that are being sold just by the dozens. Depending on where you live at, that may not seem like much money. You know, in California, it's probably nothing, but here, that's a significant amount of money for a home. Yeah, not that there ain't $1 million houses. I mean, I'm just saying, it used to be $150,000. Now it seems to be $350,000 homes. And the corporations, I've seen it. I've talked to people. The corporation I work at, they all went top heavy. So I don't see how it's going to sustain itself because, like the company I work for, they went way top heavy when we used to just damn near had a skeleton crew for management, and they was able to get the job done. Now there's a fucking fleet of these people in offices that nobody, you can just walk around and what's that guy do? I don't even know. I don't know what he does. You know, nobody knows what any of these people do, but we got offices filled with people making $75,000, $150,000 a year. We're making less product, selling less product, but yet we're 20 people heavier in management now. And they're the ones buying these $300,000 houses. So eventually that's going to fail.
Yeah. In the end, it will.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they're not producing anything. I mean, if you got the way the corporation's set up, or a lot of it compared to years past with trying to get the information out. Now with all the social media and all that kind of stuff, that almost takes a whole nother job. You know what I mean? Compared to before, you just sat it and then send it to the newspaper, and that was basically it. Maybe a commercial, depending on how big you were.
What I'm seeing in industry, at least in this area, I keep seeing myself freeze up. I don't know if y'all see it or not. I'm going to cut my bandwidth back down.
No, you're fine. You're looking, okay. I'm not seeing any Slightly choppy, but okay.
Okay. Well, what I'm seeing is, like I said, 10 years ago, the plastics industry that I'm in, um, you had, it was almost, even if it was a corporation, it was almost run like a family business. It was, really tight on management. I mean, they were, they're tight on everything, but, they'd have enough employees to do the job, had enough management to take care of it. Now they create jobs for management. And I say, when I say management, I mean that loosely. It could be this guy's the production engineer, this guy's whatever. I mean, they just make up freaking positions. Truly, they're just making them up. And the thing about it is we're selling less product now than we were 10 years ago. Yet we got, instead of maybe 10 people altogether up front in offices, counting secretaries and what have you. Now we got like, 25, 30, but yet we're selling less product. So it don't make sense. I mean, that's a bubble in itself that's going to pop.
Well,
And I know,
we're gonna have this bubble. We're gonna have this bubble because the next shoe that's going to drop in housing is, places like San Francisco and where I'm up in Northern California. We're so stressed for housing at this point in time. The demand for rentals is skyrocketing. People are screaming that they can't afford $2,000 rent for studio apartments in San Francisco, if you can even find one. And even in places like Santa Rosa, 40 miles away, you're just under incredible pressure for. I mean, it's not unusual for us a couple times a month to have people just come up knocking on the door. Is that granny unit behind your house for rental? Just so you putting your house on for rent, or do you have any rooms for rent? So the next thing is going to happen, they're going to have one of those Alan Greenspan, Bill Clinton moments again, where they're going to go into, whoever the president is, Hillary or Donald or Obama, is going to call in Janet Yellen and tell her, you know what, it's time to loosen up the buying requirements for housing now. We've got too much demand. All these banks are sitting on all this money. They want to charge these people negative interest rates to keep their money on deposit. Going to get the big thumb out, start pushing on her chest and say, you know what, it's time to loosen up the down payment requirements on housing. Because can they really get any tighter right now? The answer is no. So even though we have this upward pressure for a lot of rentals and a lot of homes right now, we're nowhere near busted a dam of supplying even more people with the money to buy the home. So it's going to be very interesting to see. We just get over this 10-year, this problem 10 years ago when shit hit the fan, and here we are again. And another one of these turnkey moments where we'll probably get into the same type of situation again.
Tell me if this is true, Rosie. There was a poll done. I think it was probably Facebook or some bullshit I saw. But they did a poll on what of what the person thought you would need in the bank in order to be considered comfortable in the Bay Area, and I think it was $6 million.
Yeah, it's pretty high. It's pretty high here. The housing is just takes so much of the dollar. Well, you came out of SoCal. Living is expensive up here. So, and so many of the immigrants still continue to come here. You might wonder what fuels this demand and where are these McMansions coming from. Well, our doors are still wide open on the Asian side as far as immigration and people coming in. I mean, I'm seeing more Nepalese, more Eritreans, more people from Africa coming in than I've ever seen before, in just waves and droves coming in. And I think the government recognizes that the only way you're going to really grow the economy effectively these days is through kind of a wide open immigration policy that we're kind of seeing some of the results of that now, not to the negative extent that they are in, say, the UK and Europe with the waves of Syrian refugees coming over there, but still, things aren't getting less crowded here. I mean, the old joke was everybody was leaving California, but it still keep coming here, still keep growing, and I thought it was like 2 million, somewhere between 2.5 million, or something like that, to live comfortably
I
out
think
here. So.
the question might have been, I think it was two-part question. I think in order to be considered rich or something like that.
Oh yeah, I would say
million.
6 million. That would be about the same as New York City, wouldn't you say? In New
Yeah.
York City,
Well, what's weird is that all the employees that work there that make that whole thing work, they can't even live there.
Of course. I mean, that's the problem. How do you recruit firefighters and teachers in places like that? Well, that market's kind of, economics has kind of taken care of that situation. There are not any young people in San Francisco anymore. The city's got it out of young people. They've closed elementary schools left and right, and they don't have to worry about recruiting teachers because the schools just simply aren't there, because the families have had to get the hell out of Dodge to even get anything affordable, and they push over to places like Oakland and Pleasanton and Dublin, all out the 580 corridor towards Stockton and out in the Central Valley and out there. So, the effects of high pricing, well, who's responsible? Well, the success of the Googles, the success of the Apples, the success of those companies has driven all of that, with the incredible wealth that they spun off with to shareholders and employees and the benefits they get. They've pushed that up for all of us out here.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm glad I got out of there.
Yeah, it was a smart move, because eventually everything all evens out across the country. But what do you need in Dallas, Texas to feel wealthy? I would argue it's somewhere north of $1 million. I would think that's not an inexpensive place anymore.
Well, what's weird too is if you figure in the 60s you could buy a house, depending on what state you're in, obviously, but let's just call it 80 grand. In that same house, I mean, it's worth a ton more now, but like if let's just apple to apple it, that same house would probably be 300 grand, so 300 grand and 89 grand or whatever is basically the same, with the increases of the economy and wages and all that, but it's like, damn. But yeah, when
the problem is, Rick, and I don't mean to jump the gun on here, but the problem is it's a baseless monetary policy here, where we don't have any true yardstick of value when we create money or have money in the system. Because how do you explain an economy, and this didn't happen before the 1960s and 70s, when we had all this deficit spending begin in the 60s with the Vietnam, and then into the 70s and the 80s and 90s and right on through. This house here that I'm in is only 1,000 square feet with an outbuilding and a garage, and it sits on a half acre here. But this thing pushed up from to $600,000 in 2005 at the height of all the ridiculousness. Yeah. And then in 2011, when the bubble burst and it's on rock bottom, and people were telling me, "Oh, you got rocks in your head. You need your head examined if you're going to buy real estate." Then I buy it for 169, and now 4 years later it's 450. I mean, what's going on? I mean, how do you explain all the conniptions in the market? It's because we don't really have a value-based economy anymore. We have more of a speculative and a non-value-based economy where work input no longer relates to value of housing and things. It's all how much money you can borrow and things like that, and what's your down payment. going. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's kind of a difficult concept, but we really don't have. We've lost our bearing about the relative worth of things given an information economy where we really produce nothing except social media and good searches and others. You know, it's kind of a weird phenomena here.
And that's the hard part about building a home now. I see some people out there that have built homes, but right now you can buy a house that's already built per square foot cheaper than you can to build it. At least when I was living in California, because the house that we left, and if we were to try to build that home, it would have cost just gazillions of dollars. So it was cheaper for us to actually purchase a home that was already built, and we ended up getting more square footage for the price than trying to build it. You know
So
what I
the
mean?
question, yeah, but the question is the relative value correct? I mean, we talked about that silver dime before through time, that in 1929 that silver dime would purchase 1 gallon of 10 cents a gallon for gasoline back in 1929. And then we talked about today, you could take that silver dime to when silver was a little higher, like $18 or something. You could take that silver dime and almost purchase a gallon of gas today with that. You converted it to funny money. So it's like, how do you value things like housing today and stuff like that? It's exceedingly difficult. That's why we have these crazy movements of housing prices. We never had this stuff in that. There was no such thing as these housing busts through the 1880s. Every home was craft built, stick built, bit by bit, and then housing stock was added to slowly. And we just had a very slow, steady incline of real estate prices. I mean, it was probably much more favorable to the economy than this crazy sine wave of up and down that we've had over the last 25, 30 years, these exaggerated booms and busts every time money gets cheap or expensive. So this really points an arrow at exactly what's screwed up with our economy, the inability to have steady sort of housing situation here.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just glad I don't have to look for a house right now.
Well, I'm always looking at land and houses and things, but there's more attractive things to me now. But I'm just saying it's just a fascinating intellectual exercise to look at pricing in the face of all of this. And right now you can't say that they're giving housing away. I mean, remember Rick and TR back in 2005. I mean, if you had a fucking pulse, you could get a house. You didn't need any money down. You could get a liar loan. You could have stated income. You didn't have to prove anything. You could just go in as a landscaper and say, I make $200,000 a year. Well, great, you qualify for a $1.2 million home. We don't need any money down. But now we're not in that era right now. So it really makes me wonder if they start to take the lid off of this thing to really help, quote, help, unquote, more people afford housing. Yeah, somebody said, Gwen said, yeah, are we building the next bubble? Yes, we are. We're building bubbles all over the place. So
we're just going to do the same shit we did last time.
Exactly. And we're going to have it on multiple fronts now. And the next thing that's really going to hurt is food inflation, because remember, our food, our beef, our grain, our vegetables, all that stuff hits the international market. In places like China that are increasingly stressed to provide quality food and safe food supplies, look more and more to places like the U.S. and other places in the world to feed the world. And with all this climate change and everything else, you better believe that if food inflation starts to get a toehold here, it's really going to be something to watch, because that's something that's been relatively restrained only because they've changed the packaging sizes to kind of fool people, and we've talked about that before.
What do
You
you
know,
think the percentage of of the U.S. food going to what'd you say, China or Japan?
yeah, I would say Asia. You know, as their needs become greater, and China's found so much of their arable land with cocked up development and factories and spewing pollution. I mean, my daughter's in Beijing right now on the Air Force thing, and she's just comments that she can hardly breathe sometimes in Beijing walking around. I mean, the quality of life is so low there for the money that's pouring in, and the ability to raise enough food in a meaningful way. Well, that's going on globally too, that stresses and demands for food. So because of that, because of so much food being exported now, we see that we'll be competing for the food that others want globally. And as an interesting sidelight, Bayer, the big German company, Bayer AG, they're the ones that discovered aspirin way back in the 1920s or whatever. They're trying to buy Monsanto right now. So that should be a clue that they've got a pretty good idea that food development is going to be a key area of the future. So I mean, as much as everybody hates Monsanto and big agri and genetically modified organisms, manipulated organisms, it seems to be that that's basically taken over the food supply, like it or not. So they must see tremendous value in I don't want to call it the food wars coming up, but providing enough food in a meaningful sort of way. Yeah, Monsanto's been under pressure, as Gwen said, but only to the extent that grain prices have been temporarily depressed coming out of that last recession. Farmers had to cut back, but they're not hurting. They're just not as flush as they used to be. The John Deeres, the Caterpillars, the International Harvesters, those type of things. So it's, we're competing with the world now for what we need for ourselves. And that's a little scary when you think about having enough to eat.
Bayer offered to buy them for $62 million plus 4K, so
62 billion, and it'll probably go higher. Somebody else will probably come out for a competing bid, because just the patents and things. It's only DuPont with Pioneer Seed is their division in Monsanto that are the two huge players in agri development on a genetically modified basis. So big money is in it, and don't fool yourself. That's going to be big money made.
Screwed up somehow or another. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Bigger chickens, bigger.
Well, somebody posted up on Facebook, a friend of mine today, she posted a picture. This is the biggest navel orange I've ever seen in my life, and it covered her whole hand. It covered her whole hand. I mean, have you gone inside to see the size of oranges or onions and potatoes? I mean, everything's Franken-sized now, or chicken breasts. Used to be able to get 8 chicken breasts to a pack of breasts in the store. Now you get 4 for that. I mean, the size of it's just incredible. The
breast
upsizing.
augmentations for the chickens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you look at that and say, holy smokes, that's a 2-meal thing going on there. All the genetically modified stuff that's going on. But my point for economics was we're going to have less of this food supply for ourselves, and we'll find more customers around the world that have more ready cash to bid it up and take it away, and it won't be caused by inflation. The inflation won't be caused by our demand here. It'll be caused by going overseas and pushing up the price here. So it's an interesting thing to think about.
They should make a percentage can only go, say.
Well, remember that if you start to get into Gerald Ford's wage and price controls and Richard Nixon in the 1970s, and when you start to put a ceiling on something, all of a sudden that when they lift that ceiling eventually, then you're going to go crazy with pricing. So it's best to always well, at least in my opinion, to let the free market adjust and take your lumps in the short haul. I mean, if we had put a ceiling on gasoline, imagine we would have never, beaten OPEC at their own game here by letting the price go sky high. We invited all this competition to come in and all development in solar and so many other things that human ingenuity is incredible at getting around problems. And if you let the free market do it, it'll eventually work. But I understand what you're saying, Rick. That short-term incentive to put caps on it is always there. It's like what they do in San Francisco. Even Santa Rosa now, they're trying to cap rent, so you can't push rent up anymore. Well, when you can't do that, you're going to have even less building going on, and it's going to cause even a shrinking demand. And not shrinking demand, but shrinking or steady supply. So you're creating additional problems. I mean, it always seems good in the short haul. It's what you have to do in times of war, of course, but.
I guess what you need to do is just get your own shit. Get your own chicken.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The point is get your own fucking land.
Yeah.
And be able to grow and be able to be a prepper and not just living out of a can, but being able to grow your own shit.
Yeah.
Look at TR growing his own tobacco out there.
I know. I want to be sneaking over there and making a couple cigarettes once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. This buddy of mine wanted to try it out, and he didn't do good last year, but he's having better success this year getting the plant started. And he had a bunch of them started, and so he gave me like 5 of them. So I've done a little research on them. One of them, I mean, one plant can produce a good bit. I've seen videos. I mean, it can get like 7 foot tall. Big, huge leaves on them like this big.
Yeah, you got to watch the sun and other shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an experiment. We'll see what happens.
It's interesting.
I'm going to start growing my own tea leaves.
The other thing I worry about that Jay brought up, JXX, is saying Zika will stop a generation of humans. Well, we probably are reaching the point in the world where we're going to have I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Middle Ages economist Malthus, Malthus, and he was even more pessimistic than most economists are, and he always said that when human evolution reaches a certain point where there's too much stress, then nature comes out with some big badass thing like the Black Plague or something else that wipes out just gigantic swaths of people to relieve the pressures on things and stuff like the Zika and other. You never know what's lurking around the corner, the next mutation and things. So it's interesting. You put too many people close together with too rugged living conditions, and well, you're back in Rome in 1300 or whatever. So
Yeah. I mean, that's very possible that, some new plague or whatever happens. I mean, that's happened many times over the history of man. So it could happen again, even with modern medicine.
Well, you see now that they've just given an enormous prize for the company that can develop an antibiotic to fight the superbug now. That's how. It's almost like a game of checkers where you're jumping and jumping each other and jumping, and then you don't have any more jumps left, and then the bacteria has the last jump. You reach the point where it's very difficult to develop new antibiotics and things to fight those superbugs. So at what point does one evolve that is hellish?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff stacked against us. I mean, the market, the health of America, the economy, the dollar, it all, and maybe I'm looking at it pessimistically, but it all seems to be floating and kind of just right on the razor's edge of going either way. You know,
Yep.
it may continue on for decades, or it could all collapse tomorrow. And of course, that's why we do what we do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so we just keep hoping. I mean, hopefully, sun will come up tomorrow, and I'll go to work, and all be well.
They're
But
talking
if
about
not,
gasoline went up, and I'll just say we're just eking our way up and still rebounding from that incredible fall that we had in December and January. This is a very slow moving market, so it's just my opinion.
What months did you say, Rosie?
December and January, we had that horrendous fall in gasoline prices.
Mm.
Virtually overnight, we dropped from the high 60s to we'd been coming down from 80, and then we just fell off a cliff to $26 a barrel, and now we're at about 48, 49, somewhere in there.
Damn them barrels.
Yeah.
yeah, it's been slowly inching its way up. It's about
That's survival.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When it inches its way up, it's going counter to the true trend. That's all I can say. One of the greatest investment guides that you can have is if something creeps up as opposed to rockets up, then it's going against the trend.
yeah. It got down to like $1.36, and now it's like $1.99 seems to be the average I'm seeing here. Anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely cheaper than North Carolina because each time I go fly, I make sure to fill up my tank on the way back.
Yeah, North Carolina's got extra state tax on their. I mean, South Carolina's got state tax on gas too, but not as much as North Carolina.
Yeah, it's a little cheaper.
Now they said airline tickets were cheap, but I just picked up for Jen and I in October to go down to San Diego the third week of October for Southwest from Sacramento to San Diego, $70 each way for that. So they're, the deals are definitely out there.
Southwest has been packing them like fucking sardines.
Well, we flew to Vegas from Sacramento on a half-full plane going out
Really?
there. Yeah, the first time in probably 2 years.
Man, I have to do 2 stops now just so they can fill the plane up before they make it into San Diego. Before I went from Greenville, South Carolina, GSP, I'd either go to Denver or Chicago. Those are the only 2. Now we go to Georgia, Denver, Colorado, and to California.
Mm-hmm.
Just to fill it up. Just to get a full, and there ain't a seat. There's not one seat available. And who do I always sit by?
A good-looking girl?
No, never. Not one time. Always someone that's running behind and is usually a lot larger than me.
I don't know. I use a blocking strategy. I always put Jen between me and the person that talks a lot and everything on that. I use that in the airport. I have a few videos on effective blocking strategy for travel. I just push Jen in her wheelchair between me and the people sitting over there because Jen can keep them going all day long, so it's all good.
That works out good.
Works out great.
You can get a nap in, and she can have fun.
Yeah, she can keep them glued to their mouths for an hour sitting there, so they're all good. Love it.
Yeah, most of the flights I took back in the 80s when I was flying a little bit, I've been on pretty good sized planes, and there was like 10 or 15 people on the plane.
Yeah, those days are pretty much gone. They've kind of consolidated and worked down that rationalized air travel pretty much. But if you can buy ahead a little bit, then how you gonna beat $70 each way from Sacramento to San Diego? I mean, that's damn fine. I could have gotten $120 to Baltimore from Sacramento.
How much was your Vegas flight?
I think that was like that was like $135 for that.
Yeah, they were doing those 40. This was a while ago.
Well, Allegiant Air has Santa Rosa. They have Santa Rosa to Las Vegas. They just started picking up again. That's like $49 for a few months promotional, but it'll go up to about $105 each way, something like that. It's an easy flight, fun flight.
Yeah,
some people are saying they hate to fly. I love to fly. I just, man, it's so nice to just be there.
I don't got an option, so I don't even care.
Yeah.
I'm not driving to work. Fuck that. That's a long drive.
I came back from Asia with 500,000 miles on my my thing, so everything from Russian prop planes from the 40s to nice Concords. So it was all good stuff. But airfare still can be a bargain if you can buy it when you get one of those advanced fare sales, but we shall see.
Yeah, there's some deals out there. You just got to find them. I'm definitely utilizing my miles.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. I'm going to get a cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Got a few new people out there. Indiana Patriot, the token's back. JX. Deb's doing a after chat, so if anybody wants to check that out, whenever this one's done.
No Matt tonight.
I'm on it. Lady T, Drew 4.6. So thanks everybody for coming out.
Yeah.
How often do you, I know I didn't ask you this, what's your rotation if you don't mind saying?
I work 8 on, 16 off.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but I fly in a day early and leave the next day, so it's basically 10 days of not being home and then 14 being home.
Yeah, that's not bad though.
No, it works out. It works out pretty good.
I was thinking it was like 8 and 8 or something like that. I didn't. So yeah, that's pretty good downtime.
Yeah, if it was any other way, it'd be too hard just because it costs too much to do tickets.
Yeah.
It makes it worthwhile. It's not too expensive because I basically probably have to fly. It's a little over one time a month because on some months, I'll fly twice. So I'd say probably 14 times a year.
Yeah, I fly about 6 or 7 times a year. I like it.
How long does it take to fly from North Carolina to Cali? Well, if you were just to get a flight straight across, it'd probably be 5 hours. But it takes me, just in an airplane is like 8.5 hours. But it takes, when I come back with the 3-hour time frame, it's about a 17-hour day. Because, you got to leave butt crack early, get there 2 hours early, go through security, and then all that stuff, and then from where I land in San Diego, it takes me an hour to get to work. So There's a lot of hours to burn up on a day.
I will tell you what. You talk about a long-ass flight. You talk Hong Kong to London, 15 hours nonstop in that fucking plane. Actually, 15 and a half because you're flying into headwinds when you're going over, and 15 hours back. So I'd work a full day in Hong Kong, get on the plane 4 o'clock at the afternoon, get off the next morning 9 o'clock for breakfast, and meetings in London, and have meetings till 4. The guys want to go out drinking till 2 in the morning. Get on the plane 4 or 5 in the morning. Get back to Hong Kong, right back to my desk. It's like 2 days without a bit of sleep to hold the what we call the holy roller run. We go back and forth to there. So that was a bitch of a trip back, but a lot of fun. So.
I went to Argentina one time. I got fed 3 times. I was like, what the? I knew I was in trouble.
Long flight. Oops, TR, sorry. Why the hell did I mute TR?
I was like, dang, what'd I do?
Hit the wrong button.
I was going to say the longest flight I ever took was 25 hours.
Yeah, that'll do it. Was that nonstop?
No, it was with 2 stops. We went from Mississippi to New York. I guess they refueled a little bit. We stopped in Germany, and then the next stop was in Saudi Arabia. And that was when I went to Desert Storm. It was 24 or 25 hours.
Yeah, that'll do it. Well, the upside of that long flight was you were usually on British Air 747 or Cathay Pacific, one of the really nice Asian-based airlines. The downside was you were flying over shitholes in the Middle East.
It was a 747, but it's actually Federal Express. When I seen Federal Express on the side of it, I was like, damn, they putting this on a cargo plane? But it was actually just a normal 747. It's still a long freaking flight.
Yep. But they tried their best to make it comfortable anyway, so. But that was that.
Yeah.
Well, should we get on with Memorial Day comment? I got my little rant, and I know you want to do. Why don't you do your rant, TR, since you were...
Yeah, I'll just do a little quick rant. Me and Rick talked about this a little bit because I didn't know what was going on. I was getting all these messages and comments on my videos. If some people may or may not have seen them, I don't know. I don't know what the deal was with this guy, but anyway, if you got a small channel or a new channel, you can't expect everybody to see your videos, everybody to watch your videos. Even if they're not a big channel, when I started out, the people I subbed to, I could watch every one of their videos. But as I grew, also the people I'm subbed to grew. And I can't see all your videos. A lot of your videos don't even show up in my subscription feed. So I never even knew you made it to start with. But I had a little incident with somebody that kept, borderline insulting me. Not quite, but borderline. And it turns out he was doing the same thing to Rick. And he was saying, oh, Rick said you thumbed down my video. And then he emailed Rick and said, oh, TR said you thumbed down my video. I don't know what the hell game he was playing. He was getting pissed. And I finally found his video. I wasn't subscribed to him, so it was never going to show up in my feed. I finally found his video. He was doing like a shout out. But it was a 17-minute video. I wouldn't have watched it anyway, but since he was making such a big fucking fuss about it, I kind of skipped through it and watched it and said, okay, I found your video. Thanks for the shout out. But it's like he got all fucking butthurt because I didn't see it when he put it out. And I'm sorry. I can't see everybody's video. Like Chris out there. I try to watch as many of his videos as I can. He's big into solar, and I'm interested in the output he puts out. And I'm not down in anybody's channel. I'm just saying, when you're putting out really good information, those are the videos I'm probably going to watch more than likely. I'll try to watch as many videos as I can of all my subscribers, but I can't. I just can't. There's not enough hours. I'm subscribed to 1,000 freaking channels. There's no way I can watch all y'all's videos. I do the best I can, and out of that 1,000, not all of them even put out content. But it just kind of pissed me off that this guy got all butthurt over me not watching his damn video. But that's all. All I can say is I'm sorry. I do the best I can, and that's all any of us can do. And once you've been doing YouTube 4 or 5 years, you would understand. So
yeah, because I got it. My little phone will say someone wrote a comment or whatever, and I just got in bed and I'm half asleep and I look at it. I'm all, TR said what? Then I'm like, what the fuck? Then I gotta find the video. I'm like,
you're lucky. Imagine
and
if you
finally I just said, fuck it, I'll look at it tomorrow because I don't even care. But
you're lucky. You have 4,000 videos, and you have to go back to video 89 and rewatch it from 3 years ago and try to understand what the hell the person's even talking about on the video. And they talk about cringe videos. You go back and watch that. Woo!
Well, luckily I got Studio. I don't know if you guys have the Studio thing or not, but it makes it nice because every comment that comes in, it just goes to it and tells you what video it is. And then you're like,
well,
I didn't even talk to TR.
Yeah, exactly. I knew it was bullshit when he said it. I was like, I didn't even talk to Rick. I know he didn't say that. But anyway, it was just my little. I'm lucky. I know. I'm absolutely sure Rosie has way more problem with trolls and bad comments and things like that. I'm not whining or crying about it or whatever. But just for anybody out there, that if you're fairly new or a small channel, don't expect everybody to watch your videos. That's all I'm saying. It's not that they don't want to; they just can't. There's not enough hours in the day.
It takes time. It's commitment.
Yeah, the one thing that I do that it takes up some time, but I don't mind. I enjoy it. The one thing that I do is I always respond to every comment made on every one of my videos. So that takes up a good bit of time, but I enjoy it. That's why I do YouTube, is to interact. So, you got to figure I got to comment on all the comments made on my video. Then I try to look at as many videos as I can, so I have to pick and choose.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry.
I feel that. That's even after 3 years, 3.5 years, I still try to answer, and it gets up there. I mean, I'm not tooting my horn, but it's over 5.3 million views on the channel, and it's telling you, some days you get 200-300 comments rolling in. You can't possibly answer them all. You just have to hit your regulars once in a while, just so you know that you appreciate them being there, and say thank you to the new people. I mean, it can be a lot, and I don't think sometimes people can appreciate it on the other end. But it's all good. TR, we wouldn't do it if we didn't enjoy it, right? So
yeah. I always try to, when someone subs me, I always try to go, to the main thing and say, thanks for subscribing to my channel. That's where I try to hit them the most. But yeah, if I'm busy, I'll just thumbs up them. When I get a chance, maybe later, a couple days later, I'll thanks for watching or something,
Yeah, and my channel may not grow that much more. Right now, I'm able to keep up with it. You get into these bigger channels, I wouldn't even expect, somebody with 40,000 freaking subs and they get thousands of views on their videos. If I commented, I wouldn't even expect them to comment back because there's no way they can keep up with that,
Yeah.
But even as I don't even say mid-sized channel, but a little bit, I got a few thousand subs, so I mean, I get a good bit of interaction, and it can be a job keeping up with it, and I'm not complaining. All I'm complaining about is somebody making a video and then getting butthurt because I didn't see it.
Yeah, your best chance, especially the larger ones, is you got to hit them. You got to be one of the first like 25 comments, because that's when they're still working maybe on it or something, or at least kind of wanting to see how it's going to work out. But after they've already got so many views, they're already moving on to the next one.
Yeah, you ain't gonna comment on somebody's video they put out a week if they got a bunch of subs. If that video's been out a week, days, or whatever, yeah, they're not coming back and commenting.
Yeah. I think who was I watching today? Southern Prepper 1. He sounds like he responds pretty good to his emails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen that video too.
Yeah.
Now he's somebody. If I comment on his video, which I did, and he hadn't commented back, he may comment back to me, but that's because I actually personally know him.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, we're not best buds or anything, but I got his phone number. I've talked to him several times, interacted with him. I mean, I know the guy. He's been to my house. I've been to his house, so. But anyway, that's my little rant. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. It just kind of got under my skin a little bit. If it had just been a regular troll trying to make noise, it wouldn't have bothered me. But this guy has made videos, and it was a VR to me and Rick and Oxjaw, who was in earlier, and he just got all upset that we didn't see it. And it's like, I didn't even know you made a video.
I know. It's probably only out a day.
Yeah.
Not that I would have ran across it, but.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes he's sober, sometimes he's not. So it's like.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him now. I got over it, but I'm just saying, and I wasn't mean to him in my comments back. I was just like, look, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, until I finally found the video, and then I was like, oh, okay, I found your video. Thanks for the shout out. And then he was like, well, I was all angry. I done took your name off of it, blah, 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 blah. I was like, dude, what the hell?
Did he even say our names?
Well, I guess you guys got to just try harder.
Yeah. If he did, it was at the very end, really.
Lift our games, guys,
Because I'm pretty sure I watched at least 3/4 of it.
I kind of skipped through it. I think I got to the end. He may have actually said her names, but, It was like I said, it was a 12 or 17-minute video of him shooting a revolver into a river. I wouldn't have watched that anyway,
Well, that's the thing.
Like a 3-minute reload. He had, it took him like a minute or two to reload the ammo. He didn't edit none of that out, and this went on and on and on and on. I was like, what the
reload? Reload. Oh, you know what?
Anyhow, there's my little rant for the week. My little pet peeve that kind of upset me for a few hours. I'm over it now. I'm all good. I didn't ban him. I didn't do nothing like that,
No, he's just trying to get some views, I guess, and wanted us to see the recognition, I guess. I don't know. He's a good guy, I guess.
Okay,
Anyway.
Well, we just redeemed him here, and that was great.
You can go ahead with your little rant or what you want to talk about, Rosie.
Thank you. Guys, we're coming on to Memorial Day here, and veterans affairs, and people that have died in the cause of our country, rightly or wrongly. You may not agree with the conflicts, but, well, most of them didn't have a choice to go or not to go. And when we send them off to training and then right into the theaters of war, and then they come back, and then I don't think we give near enough attention or concern when they do come back. And I heard some very disturbing things today. I do listen to a little bit of talk radio when I'm in the car, and I was listening to the Tom Sullivan talk show this afternoon on radio, and he put some really disturbing information in my head today about our vets and the problems we have now. And would anybody out there like to venture a guess how many vets have died waiting to get on the waiting to get properly assigned through the VA system? Want to guess how many vets have died waiting for care? Just take a guess.
100,000.
300,000 plus vets have died waiting to get proper care. 307,000 vets have died waiting to get proper care through the VA system. The other thing that bothered me too was that they hired all these supposedly new caseworkers to push through VA cases, and the end result was it used to take the average VA caseworker, the average, could press 73 cases through per year through the VA system to get them the care they need to get them squared away and set up. Since they hired all of these new people to come on board and help, the average VA caseworker now is putting 71 people per year through the VA system. I just called my congressman's office today, really pissed off. And I said, you know, it's about time we just did away with the fucking VA system. What we should do is give every vet the choice of an insurance card that they want in this country so that they can see the doctors that they want and go to the hospitals that they'd like to care to be treated, instead of this criminally insane VA system that we have today. It's like this second-tier system that you just have to continuously prove yourself. We have a friend of ours, Jen's and mine, that was in Vietnam. He was what they call a tunnel rat over there. Do you know what a tunnel rat is? He was the guy that they would put on a rope and send down the tunnels with a flashlight and a pistol and have to go in there and see if there was anybody in those tunnels, if they were active. Now, you don't think that that could give you potentially PTSD doing that for about 12 to 14 months? This guy has tried to fight, and this guy got slammed with Agent Orange, defoliant and stuff over there. You know, a good portion of his brain is eaten away, and he still can't even get his proper disability benefits today. And he's 70-some years old, and he'll be dead soon before anything can ever be done for this guy. This stuff just sends me absolutely ballistic. And I'll tell you what, if you guys have any compassion at all with Memorial Day coming up, and I know that this is one to honor the dead, but these people have died in the line of service, waiting to be taken care of by the VA, just as much as if they died with a bullet to the chest on the line of active duty. And it's a crime what's going on in our country right now as we piss money away on this and that and QEs and bond swap buybacks and this bullshit. Meanwhile, our vets are just piling up here still today to get things done. Call your congressperson, tell them to scrap the fucking VA system and put an insurance card in their hand and let them go to the places of their choice in the private sector. It's the only way that things are going to be done, because like Pig Boy said, they could care less about vets. And I hate to say that, but I'm sick and tired of it, and I've just had it about up to here. So if you care about vets and things like that, picked up the phone and you know, remember a couple of years ago, all the big waves were made with Obama, and well, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and we're going to fight down the backlog. All they did was push down the ability for people to complain about what was going on within the system. They throw them a little lollipop and give them a number. This isn't fucking Disneyland waiting to get on Space Mountain, okay? This is people that put their lives on the line for our country, and to sit there and basically spoon feed them It's a Small World while they're waiting to get the help they need. It's just a little bit ridiculous. So thank you for letting me get on my soapbox about that. And don't forget, everybody, Memorial Day is Monday. And it's probably should be the most important holiday, I think, in this country. But I know that's a little over the top. But I'm sick and tired of people that serve the country getting that shit stick when they come home.
Yeah,
No,
and
that's fine.
you got us throwing millions of dollars to some other country for some bullshit reasons when we got all these people that are homeless on the streets that have fought for our country, and they're not doing a damn thing for them. It drives me fucking nuts. Can't stand it.
Well, how many fucking congressmen take time and senators thinking about the vet situation? Oh, only if something explodes in their district. Somebody grabs a gun because they're so frustrated they go off at a VA clinic or something because they can't get the care they need. And then all of a sudden, ooh, then it's big doings, and it's only a chance to grandstand and stand up and say how great how we're going to work and get this thing getting better. It's not getting better, guys. It's not getting better.
Well, I think he was correct in saying do away with the VA and just give them insurance. I know when I was in the military, I actually paid for insurance. Um, it wasn't very much, don't get me wrong, but you actually paid into a health insurance of some type. I can't remember. It's been too fucking long ago. But you should get that same insurance or whatever when you get out. And yeah, the problem with the VA is the government's running it. Well, there's your problem right there off the bat. Get rid of that because anything the government's doing is inefficient, unusable,
and
overcosted.
it never gets better. It never gets better. I mean, we get people coming into our medical facility that are willing to pay out of their own fucking pocket because they can't get an appointment for 2 to 3 weeks away, and they're wheezing and having trouble catching their breath, and they can't go to an emergency room facility and stuff like that. And are you really going to charge people like that for coming in? I mean, it's just irresponsible. The distribution of our assets, the way our government spends. Don't send people to war unless you're prepared to be equally gung-ho on the back end of the whole deal too. I mean, it's ridiculous.
We're all happy to pay for everybody, the illegal immigrants coming over. We don't mind, straight to the emergency room, free service, whatever you need.
Yeah.
When you have American soldiers, veterans, they have to wait 6 months to be seen.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, Rick.
Walks in.
You hit the nail on the head because I work a lot with the Medi-Cal system, which is Medicaid. California's Medicaid system is called Medi-Cal. I can take somebody in that isn't worth a shit, okay, into our facility, get them set up with MRIs, get them set up with any scans they need, behavioral services, referrals to orthopedists, psych referrals, all kinds of pain management referrals. And I can get that done. You can be the lowest of the low person, but because I work within the California Medi-Cal system, not the VA system, I can get that person referred usually within 7 days, in worst case scenario, down to UCSF, University of California, San Francisco, within 2 weeks for any kind of specialist situation that we can't handle in Santa Rosa. And yet we've got guys dying, 307,000 people dying, waiting to get the proper care through our VA. I mean, this is just beyond, so hold Hillary Clinton's feet to the fire, and Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, because anytime you mention Veterans Affairs to Hillary Clinton, all of a sudden she just goes ballistic about, well, we're doing all we can, blah blah. Well, this was the senator and her talking, right? And because she was right there when the shit was hitting the fan and stuff. So it's just this is the shit that you should press these politicians on. If you got the guts to vote yes to go, then you should have the guts to take care of the whole problem.
Well, the government, I don't want to pick sides, and I mean, I'm not saying, well, as far as like Hillary, Lindsey Graham, McCain, these Feinsteins, all these, lifelong fucking politicians that vote for us to go to war, They don't give two shits about the people when they come back. Two shits. Not even one shit do they give. And they've proven it time and time again. They're proving it today, just as the stats you're putting out there. They don't care. We are pawns to them to an end result they want. They don't give a shit if you die, come back disabled, come back, screwed up in whatever way. They don't give a shit.
Exactly. I mean, it's like Teresa says, Lady T on the side, fight to have our servicemen taken care of in medical and in honor. See, that in honor part is, because a lot of guys don't want to raise a fuss. They want to be low key. They feel like, well, my turn will come, blah, blah, blah. But, they're not thinking correctly. Your turn should be at the head of the fucking line, not at the back of the line.
Exactly.
And this is the thing that bothers me. The honor part of it is totally gone. It's stripped off of the whole process where you're almost out there like a fucking beggar, begging as an honorable soldier or a man or woman that was in the services to try to get the care that you need. It just drives me ballistic when I see this stuff going on.
Well, I like what your point is give them the option to go where they want. Here's your medical card. If you want to go to that specialist, go to that specialist.
That's what I'm saying. You let the private sector deal with it because the public sector has fucked it up royally.
Well, and even in the public sector, now you don't have the. I don't know if this will come out right, but I have a PPO, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if I go to the doctor. Now they can't ask you anything, so they're gonna do certain things and they're gonna prescribe you certain things, and then in the end they're gonna ask you, do you have insurance? Well, fuck that. Ask me ahead of time because I want the best shit. I work, I paid my insurance for my family, and
you did the honorable thing. Yes, you did the honorable thing.
Somebody that hasn't put in as much as I have to get the top-notch stuff to be able to get whoever I want. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but
a vet who served 1 or 2, 3 tours of duty overseas should have a little bit of a faster track than the neighborhood bum who doesn't want to clean up his act, that wants to force himself onto the disability program because he's a slacker. And this is the thing that bugs me is administratively, those who administer these programs don't want to give the honor where it's deserved in our country. We want to lift up the supposedly downtrodden and those that have been, misaligned and screwed up as a result of our terrible system. And you were a warrior, so, fuck you. That's... you deserve everything you get for picking up a gun and that kind of stuff. So the honor part is what bothers me, what bothers the hell out of me too.
Well, if they want to talk about Disneyland rides, then give them a medical fast pass.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, don't just play a continuous loop of It's a Small World like you're standing in line at the fucking Space Mountain. These are people that did something worthwhile and risked their lives and got their health screwed up in a lot of cases and things, and saw a lot of shit. I mean, a friend of mine, one of my chatting friends here, Vlad, he doesn't come around anymore. He did 3 tours of over in Iraq, and to see some of his come upon scenes where a friend's hanging from a bridge by his neck and stuff. I mean, these people saw stuff at young ages they shouldn't have ought to ever seen, and to just expect these people to come back and just reintegrate themselves and just give them a pat on the back, at least give the people dignity and fucking honor. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it sucks. The whole.
So just do that on Memorial Day. Think about maybe dropping off a note or an email to your congressperson and tell them to abolish the VA system because it's failed. Or put private cards and let people pick the card they want with the insurance they want and let them integrate. Let the private sector take care of it. take that money and subsidize their insurance cards or whatever, pay for it.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw that video I did probably at the beginning of the month. And it
I don't
wasn't
watch your
for
videos.
It was about Veterans Day. It wasn't about anything. It was basically, when you're walking around. It was about PTSD and how they say 22 soldiers commit suicide a day.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out a way where we can, the ones that are alive, go shake their hand, go tell them, hey, man, I appreciate everything you've done for our country. Just tell them that they've been, that they're wanted, loved, and all that shit. And, at that video, there's a couple people that are, there's like a little, you can win something at the end, whoever shakes the most people's hand, but people don't care anymore. They really don't. There's people that talk about veteran this and we got to do that and shit. But in the end, I can tell by the video comments in the lack of people wanting to do it that there's a lot less love out there than you would think for our military.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I think we've got to get that back in a really major way. If you expect people to go off to war and do the dirty work of our politicians and their half-assed, harebrained schemes, and I'm a total believer of what TR said. Why in the fuck were we in some of these places to begin with? And now we just plug these guys in like they're just like a bullet in the gun, and then when it's done, just eject the shell casing and fuck it, You're done. That's it. So I tell you, I'm trying to get people reintegrated. It's been going on. I mean, you can watch a very excellent Academy Award-winning movie, Best Picture of like 1948, or the best years of our lives, about vets coming back from World War II, trying to integrate themselves back into society and some of the challenges they face with PTSD and other stuff. And I'm just saying, at least they had honor. You could walk into any place and identify yourself as a soldier, and well, people stood up a little straighter and maybe got you a nicer glass of water or a soda, or an extra scoop of ice cream. It's like these days, it's like, so what? It's like, you're no better than I am. Yes, you are. You are better. You put your life on the line. So I'm saying, anybody that cares on Memorial Day, if you want something to do for a half hour, just sit down and write off a letter to your congressperson and tell them how upset you are about the VA system, and tell them to make that a campaign issue coming up in the general election. It's depressing. It's really depressing.
Yeah, and not that I get mad if anybody does it, but Memorial Day is for the lost veterans, and as a living veteran, it's not my holiday. Don't shake my hand and thank me for my
service. Don't do that on Memorial Day, please.
Yeah, on Memorial Day, I mean, any other day, it's cool. I mean, if you do it on Memorial Day, like I said, I don't get mad, but it's not what it's about. So it's about fallen heroes. Whether they lost their life in war or not, it's just veterans that have passed away for whatever reason, but they served their country. That's what the day's for. So remember that, please.
Yeah, just remember the battlefield rolls on, because 307,000 people have died on the battlefield of administrative bullshit waiting to get care at the VA.
Yeah, and that's the worst way to go.
They're every bit as much of heroes on Memorial Day as people that took one on the field or whatever, or had a lingering death of gas in World War I or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it could be whatever. I don't care. I'm not sure exactly what the exact definition of it is, but it's for past veterans that have passed away for whatever reason, old age, whatever. World War II veterans, whatever. But they was just remembering the veterans that put their life on the line, or potentially put their life on the line, to at least what they thought was a good cause, or was a good cause. Either way, I think that's one of the things, like Rick, where you had so much trouble with that video you had. I've seen Matt call out a few people on this and stuff. when kids join the military, and let's face it, you're a kid, you're 17, 18 years old, you're a kid. You don't know shit about the world. So when you join, you have good intentions. Now, we don't learn until later in life that we were pawns used by these elitists and governments and stuff to do their political whatever. Um, that's later, but that still don't give you the right to insult those young men and women that join, not knowing any better. So you still got to respect them. They was doing what they thought was right. Uh, they may end up getting used as a pawn by, government, but it's not their fault. Don't blame them. Don't get mad at them. And I think that's where the hate come on your video.
Yeah. Well, they were assigned a task. They were good soldiers and Marines, and
well, it's just going to piss me off to see Obama go lay a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns in Arlington this Monday with all that beautiful bean footage that they'll be putting up of that, and this guy could give a damn.
Did he go to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers?
He will on Monday.
Well, I think this will be like, has he gone yet?
Because, yeah, I think every year they...
well, every year the president has gone, but I heard that Obama was maybe the only president that may have missed it. This is just non-factual. This is what I've heard.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's such hard duty to drive the 2.5 miles or whatever.
He had a golf game,
Yeah.
I cannot wait until he is gone. I just can't.
Well, there we go. I'm on. It says Obama will be in China. Great. I guess his vice president flunky will be there. So.
You know where I heard he's going to retire? Let's just say we might be neighbors.
I hope his pension check bounces.
Hopefully there's more than that to bounce.
Oh, shit. Well, I feel good. I got that off my chest. So.
Yankee Fort, right on, brother.
Yeah, well, it's good. It's a good subject to talk about, and you know more about the numbers and stuff, and see it firsthand. So, yeah, it's well worth talking about, and it's a lot of support out there in the chat room. So
you gotta keep it in mind. I mean, it's just like they want to let this shit be beaten down.
I mean, I could get VA benefits, and I'm qualified for it, but to be honest, I'd never done it because, for one, it's government health care, so I knew it was going to be shitty from the get-go, and two, they may dictate what I have to do and don't have to do as far as my health care, and I was like, no, screw that. I won't have to, because I do have a job and I get insurance. I mean, I have to pay for it, but I got my own insurance, so I'm like, screw it. I don't need it, don't want it, don't want nothing to do with it, because I ain't heard nothing good out of it.
I just can't believe we give millions and millions of dollars to other countries when we can't even fix our own problems.
Oh, yeah. You start talking budget, it's just, there again, it's government.
It just drives me nuts.
And I think, and I've said this many times jokingly, but it's almost true, it's like, I wonder if being in the corporate world is training for a government job, because there's some fucking idiots running corporations, or a part of it. I'm not saying necessarily the head guy, but all that fleet of freaking suit and ties that they put in charge is whatever, like I was talking about earlier in the chat, that, okay, we're producing less, but we got more management, and what's this guy's job? Nobody even knows his fucking name. That's what his job is. He's just filling an office. I mean, they've built onto our plant to put more offices in so they could hire more management. But we're running the same number of machines. But something don't make sense here. And that's the way government's run. You know, I mean, it's just same thing with government. So let's make up a new position. Let's make up another whatever or new red tape bureaucracy and just waste money and not get anything done. So it's depressing. I don't know where Rick went. I don't know if his camera went dead or what.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that Fuzz says the best years of our lives was a great movie, and not many people go back and watch classic movies that had Dana Andrews in it and a lot of other great stars, and a guy that got his hands blown off with depth charges and things for the Navy, working depth charges, I think, on a PT boat, and adjusting to his life with hooks and things, and just the first time Hollywood had ever dared to show the reality of vets trying to adjust to civilian life again and all the PTSDs. And it was quite a shocking movie for the 1940s, but it woke a lot of people up to the realities of getting vets reestablished. I think it's available for free on YouTube and places like that. The Best Years of Our Lives. It's an incredible movie, and if you want to have a real insight into, and this guy was a real this was a real serviceman too. They used some real servicemen in the movie, so it was very good.
It's good chat. Definitely good chat. Hit some great topics tonight.
Yeah, I think it's an overall good chat. Like I said, we usually shoot from the hip, but we usually fill a couple hours up pretty good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And thanks for jumping in. I know you was cleaning the garage, but I needed some
needed
help.
a break, man. I've been doing this all day. I got sponsored by a tea.
Is your 6T?
Is your 6T? Oh.
Yep, Misfits here. It's definitely time to shut it down.
Oh shit! Run.
Well, it might be a couple of minutes early of 2 hours, but I try to start them at 9:30, end them at 11:30. That way, it's late enough that people on the West Coast can join in, but not too late that people on the East Coast can be a part of it. And being I'm on the East Coast and I gotta go to work tomorrow, I'm definitely going to end it. So
yeah, you can't miss the chat. This is like history in the making right here.
The Tuesday night chat, everybody loves Rosie. I think that's what it is.
No, they like to.
Did you even have
we talk some
shots tonight, Rosie?
Huh?
Did you even have any shots tonight?
No, I had to stay on my A game tonight, but it's one of the few. It's one of the I had a great time in Vegas. It's one of the few chats where we can cover off some economic issues too, which everybody has a pocketbook and everybody's affected by it. So it's really critical. So I really enjoyed the chats tonight. It was lower key, but we touched on some not always the most fun subjects for being an American, but they're important.
Oh, absolutely. But with that, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Unless anybody's got anything they want to get off their chest. We're all good.
No. Go visit the channel if you're new to the comments out there. Subscribe to the panel members. It's in TR's bottom link description.
Yeah, I get everybody's the normal people that kind of come and go. Not everybody's on here every week, but I got a list of people that when they can, they come on. So there's links in the description. Rick, Rosie, and some others like Blue823 and some other people that come on when they can. So if you like what you hear, sub them up, give them a look, see if you like what you see. So
some shooting videos lately.
Yeah, and I have all the Vegas videos I'm putting up, and of course do the Wednesday night and the Saturday chats 4 p.m. on the West Coast to 4 or 5 p.m. till midnight. So we usually do the whole 8 hours on Saturday, about 6 hours at nighttime. Everybody's welcome, and we always have a pretty good time. So everybody's invited, and check out Vegas. Always a good time down there, and there's a lot of playlists from prior Vegas. And yes, as Nicole says, Rosie has 8 billion Vegas videos. Okay, I do a lot of videos, you know.
That's a lot of videos.
Yep, it's a lot. So it'll keep you busy, Nicole. Keep you out of
Some
trouble.
of those probably can't be on YouTube. But.
Oh, they can. The ones that weren't, they were taken off. Don't worry. Over time. So.
All right, would y'all like to do an outro? I mean, you kind of did, but you want to
That's
do
it for me. Yeah.
That's good. I appreciate you guys showing up, supporting TR's.
Yeah, hit that like button on there. Hit that like button and boost up the. You know, he takes time to do this chat on Wednesday and Tuesday nights, and it's been a lot of fun. It's almost a year. This has been going on. It's hard to believe.
Yep. Yeah, it's been about a year, no doubt.
It's been a fun time.
Yeah, because I started this chat before I started my Sunday chat, and the Sunday chat's up to 40 weeks, actually 41 weeks, because I did skip 1 week, one Sunday. I was just burned out and I couldn't do it. But so this one's got to be, yeah, getting close to 50. So anyway, with that. Thanks, Rosie. Thanks, Rick, for coming in. Rosie O'Kelly, and Is Your Six Covered? I really appreciate y'all being on the panel.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Have a good one.
All right. Later, everybody.
All right, everybody.